AFTERBUZZ TV Network. Now the largest new media platform on the web and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Castle After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Castle After Show.
Hello, hello, hello. Bingus for doing, and we're doing another episode of AFTERBUZZ, another episode of Castle on AFTERBUZZ TV, Season 5, Episode 18, which is also Episode 99.
99.
It was entitled The Wild Rover. So I'm your host, Bamm Ericsen, and please introduce yourself.
Yes, hi everybody, I am Paige Sullivan.
I'm Samara Bay.
And I'm Larice Shamar.
And we have a very special guest in the building tonight. He played the character
Liam.
I was like, who is that? he played the character of Liam, and please welcome Mr. Brian Letscher.
Hello, 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 AFTERBUZZ.
I like that. I feel like we're seeing your smile for the first time.
Tonight.
Yeah, I really can smile. I
Yeah.
swear to God, I was directed not to.
Yeah, so that was acting.
Ever. Absolutely.
Looking so tough.
Yeah. Or tired, depending on the time of day we were shooting.
Yeah. But we're gonna get all into that a little bit later. But we're gonna go into the show and give our thoughts. So let's go into Lainey and Esposito first. Little honorable mention. What do you guys think?
Honorable mention.
I'm really annoyed that we see Lainey for like 2 seconds and then that's it.
That was a cute flirt scene.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, you know,
it was like,
they had some action going on Valentine's Day, and this is our first check-in, and they're back to pre-Valentine's Day.
yeah, it's kind of
So-
like dead, though. I don't like it. I want to see more Esposito and Lainey.
But I think we can all agree this was not his
Yeah,
episode.
it's not his episode.
It wasn't.
No.
No.
But he was a supporting. I felt like Castle and Beckett's storyline took the back seat, and then it was Ryan, and then it was Esposito as the supporting. And which is interesting because maybe like a month ago, Esposito was kind of the lead, and now we went back to Castle. After Esposito, we went to back to the Castle and Beckett. Now Castle and Beckett has taken a back seat, and now it was totally Ryan. So I like how they're giving Ryan and Esposito their chance.
Right.
Their episodes.
And it was
Now-
interesting, I feel like when we are checking in on all those other characters, including Ryan's wife who showed up, it seems like it's not just Ryan's episode, but it's also what is it for a cop to go undercover? How does that affect the rest of his team, including especially his partner?
Yeah, Esposito seemed extremely concerned this whole episode, which was nice to see because you always see him picking on Ryan, and they're like always, they're bros or whatever. But
What, Paige?
bros. I don't know what bros do, but that's what they are. And this episode, it was more kind of, he was genuinely worried about Ryan's safety and concerned and acted like, a really good friend and stood by him the whole time. I don't think anybody else was really checking in on him as much as Esposito was, because he was constantly saying, what about Ryan? What about Ryan? What about Ryan?
Yeah.
Well, what did you think? What's your take on Lainey and Esposito?
Well,
See what happened.
in the half second that I saw him, my take was exactly, I want to see a little bit more. But in terms of the bros thing, that's what bros do, is they show up with a shotgun when asked. Which is what he did.
We girls don't do that.
No.
I mean,
That would be
metaphorical
really
shotgun.
I show up with ice cream,
That's a metaphorical shotgun.
right?
I love ice
Some
cream.
girls show up with shotguns.
Yeah. They're not really the ones I want as friends, though.
And speaking of
That's what you do.
speaking of shotguns, let's go into Beckett because she stays strapped. So let's talk about this whole thing.
That was a beautiful segue.
Thank you. So let's talk about who is Jordan, because that was
She
really
was
the
very persistent about it. I think it was
Okay.
kind of like...
She was very Castle in her approach.
But she didn't seem upset. Can I say
No.
two women who they didn't seem upset? Beckett didn't seem upset when he was whispering somebody's name in bed, and Jenny, even after she saw Siobhan kiss Ryan, she was just kind of just like,
Okay.
What is that? I would have gone crazy on him. Like, what is going on?
I feel like that, though, happened behind closed doors.
Well, I'm sure, but I mean, she controlled herself very well, as did Beckett, which
But
I think.
She was such a lady.
But Jenny was still pretty pissed because when he went to leave to go back undercover, you know, she wouldn't acknowledge him, she wouldn't kiss him.
There's a difference between being kissed by a girl who used to be in love with you and thinks you're somebody else than submitting yourself to go back undercover with the Irish mob with the possibility of being killed, seeing as you've been gone for 7 years. I mean,
correct me if I'm wrong, but there was an interesting feeling in this episode that Ryan's character connected better with Siobhan than with his own wife.
yes.
It did.
True, but let's just close out this whole Jordan thing. So
Oh yeah, sorry.
Hold on.
Sorry.
what do you think?
I thought it was a cute little story. It was kind of.
We knew it was going to be innocuous.
Yeah, we knew it wasn't important, and it was kind of cheesy at the end of the episode. Tie a little bow on it, and whatever.
Like,
I mean,
I have that experience before. Like, I used to talk in my sleep, so and I had one of my girls. She was like, "Oh, like who is like Sarah?" Like, what do you mean?
well, that's different. Sarah's
like,
a girl.
I'm just saying. It's like, I just like said the name. I didn't know who it was. I was just talking in my sleep. I probably like watched the movie, and she's like, and like Liz, she kind of went on persistent. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And she was just like, "Who is Sarah? You said in your sleep." Like, I was asking you questions in your sleep. I was like, whatever I say in my sleep, you can't take me for truth because I don't know what I said. And like, literally, she got like upset because I was like, "Who's Sarah?" I was like.
It's Sarah Jessica Parker.
You're supposed to be asleep. It's called sleeping.
Many of us have said her name in our sleep.
Me too. I mean, you can't watch episodes of Sex and the City without thinking.
Here's my one thing. Is it Jordan who wrote the paper, or was the paper about the car?
It was about the car company. So if
Okay.
this is really Castle's subconscious, it's going a little
Yeah.
I think it was kind of a terrible excuse.
abstract.
Yeah, it was a little silly to me, but I mean, that was like their only storyline this whole episode.
But I think it did tie in metaphorically with the main storyline to get to the main storyline. It does seem like Castle was dealing in that moment of the whole Jordan thing and why it keeps coming up for him in like and maybe early on test of his manhood or his like ability to be appreciated, as he put it, which ties in I think with Ryan and the whole like A, can we not have children because the problem is me, and B,
Mr. Shamar is looking at you like he doesn't believe what you're saying.
I'm just listening. I'm just listening.
I think I'm right.
Okay.
Well, maybe it's just it's a self-worth thing, maybe not even a man thing, because I think even for his wife, if she might be concerned that it's her who can't have the baby.
Yeah, I know. I'm only going off of his text. He says in the beginning, the very first thing that we see of him is this guy looking really slightly broken and saying to his wife, what if it's me?
Do you look like me?
What if it's my fault?
You look like me.
No, you don't look broken.
No. I'm just trying to convince you.
Mr. Brian, what do you think about the whole Jordan thing and the story of him in the paper as a kid? Do you have an opinion?
Wow, I really just focused on Liam and glaring at people really well. And
So did you have the entire script, or did you only have your scenes?
No, I had the entire script.
But
Of course, I only read my scenes.
There's this actor joke that's like blah 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 my lines.
You talk, I talk. You talk, I talk.
Oh gosh.
No, I think anything that comes out of his mouth is hilarious, actually. So it's really hard for me to watch him because I think he's one of the funniest guys on television.
Nathan Fillion.
Yeah, Nathan Fillion.
He's
I'm talking about.
hysterical.
Yeah.
I know. Did you have any time on set with either of them? I noticed your character doesn't interact with them.
Nathan, we had a van ride, and we have a friend in common. But we had a van ride to set, and I said hi for my friend, and he was very warm. He's exactly, at least in my brief experience, how you see him.
I've heard the same
Warm,
thing.
charming, funny, down to earth. Yeah. So.
That'd be awesome if the answer was the opposite. Thank you for finally.
He made me go get him coffee. It was horrible. He kept wanting to borrow my gun. It was brutal.
Which he never has a gun in his
Right. He's like, this is cool.
That moment was pretty hilarious.
That was hysterical.
When he comes around the.
You almost lost your water. That was hysterical, though. I forgot my vest.
I know, as he like backs up like.
But his vest even says writer on it.
Yeah.
So cute. And last week when he was like, "You're a cop, I'm a cop, helper."
He's funny. He's got the one-liners, but it doesn't even feel cheesy when he drops them. I don't want to be like, oh, stop. I kind of want more of it. And this episode, he was actually pretty funny when we saw him. We didn't see too much of Castle.
No,
Yeah,
it wasn't
we
his
didn't.
episode.
But we saw a lot of Jenny, so I can't recall. This was the first time we've seen her, right?
I was glad to see her.
It's
But
not
it's
the
been
first
years.
time. Yes, it's not the first time we've seen her.
It wasn't very memorable before. I mean, our fans have written in and said that there were some earlier
You're
episodes,
right, there were.
and I sort of vaguely remember that, but
Yeah.
no, I mean, I think this was the most.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought she looked old.
Very.
Guys, be nice. Come
I'm
on.
just saying.
Wait, stop. What do you mean, be nice?
Okay,
well, here's
you
what I
said-
mean.
You said that, you girls said that she looked old too. You just said it off camera.
No, we think she looks old. Okay, we think she looks old because we think most women who are portrayed in the media have, you know, really tight skin and like fresh face and play a girl. Like,
Here's what
so
I think.
young.
I think if, what's his name? Seamus Dever, is that how you pronounce it? Seamus Dever was not married or was not married to an actress, they would have cast somebody 15 years younger than her. I
clean
think
it
that's
up.
what we all think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they don't cast normally like that. Like it would be more of a Beckett-looking person.
More younger. Beautiful.
I bet that
Tight skin.
Beckett and Juliana end up like being the same age.
She is beautiful and everything, but I just thought that she was going to be a lot younger.
Well, I have to say that I ran into her. I got the pleasure of meeting her on set, and she's absolutely gorgeous and lovely in person. So.
Yeah, I didn't really.
Thank you for
She was
keeping it classy,
delightful.
Brian.
Yeah, no, she was.
But you
not
did
to
laugh.
mention, I thought the scenes between them worked. Obviously, I was saying to Samara how it'd be so weird to have a moment where you're learning that your wife is pregnant on television. I don't think they have kids in real life.
No.
No,
To have
they
it on
don't.
television with your real wife before you have it in real life.
I know.
How odd!
So
They've already been through
crazy.
it. Now it's going to happen in real life. They're going to be like, we've done this already.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. Let's
Or
go
his
get a burger.
reaction will be whatever it is, and she's like, "That's not what your reaction
Yeah,
was on
but we
camera.
did
Can you do that version?"
You were so much more excited as Ryan. What is the deal?
Oh goodness! I thought she was cute. I thought she
was.
handled it
Totally.
well, and I felt for her when she was crying for him when he went back undercover, and she was so upset. But she didn't want to. She didn't want to tell him no, but you could see in her face how devastated she was, and I liked that. And you couldn't see their chemistry on camera. Like you said, though, he did seem to have more chemistry with Siobhan.
And I didn't love, the writers didn't help because they gave her these lines that were like, why would he go undercover? Like, she knows she married a cop. She knows that every day he's in the line of duty.
My thing is, like, did she ever know that he was undercover before?
No,
I know.
nobody did.
No.
Because how long have they been married?
Like
Because
a year.
right,
A year.
right, because they got married last season,
Yeah.
during season 4.
Yeah.
So, so this
Right.
whole life, she's unaware of because it's undercover, and he,
7 years ago.
you know, and he went undercover 7 years ago. So that was something obviously he had to keep to himself. So no, she didn't know that.
But
Okay.
nobody knew. 'Cause even
Yeah, no one
Esposito
knew.
was like, bro, you was undercover? Like,
Well, I think it's just unexpected from
Yeah.
him because he's always in his 3-piece suit with his bow ties. And even if you follow him on Twitter, which I'm sure a lot of our Castle fans do, he's constantly tweeting pictures of the knots he's putting. Like, he's like, wings are not.
I love it.
Which makes me like his character even more because he's constantly taking pictures of his ties and he tries all these unique things. They're really cool. You should check them out.
Talking about his sartorial style, that means clothing.
okay.
I hear that there's a story
New word of the week.
about his jacket in the episode.
Ooh, yeah.
You had
I
some
think
real
I cost
stage time.
I cost ABC some money for sure. We had that little tussle. It was just a little tussle, right? When he wants to go do something, I'm trying to get him in the car at the end to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we didn't really block it out. The fight coordinator said, hey, tussle a little bt. Show me what you guys are going to do. We showed him. He's like, that looks great. So, and it wasn't a big deal. And Seamus was like, grab my lapels and you can throw me around a little bit. And so we did it once. It went fine. We did it again. And I hear this. And I look down and his leather jacket is ripped like right in the middle, not on a seam, not on anything that you can fix. Like my big Irish hands just somehow ripped that. It was thin, like beautiful leather. And the wardrobe guy comes over and just goes, "That's a $2,500 jacket." I wasn't you can't take that out of my paycheck. You are not taking that out of my paycheck.
Not responsible.
And then I said, well, where's the backup? He's like, we don't have one. I was like, what do you mean you don't have a backup? And so he did a great job sewing it up and gluing it up. But I felt really, really, really bad. It like literally went to crickets on the set. It was completely silent. And everyone's looking at me just like, goddamn guest star.
We have so few nice things.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
And meanwhile, that jacket I was wearing was like $4,500.
Wow.
I know. I took it.
Just nice.
You would have gotten away with it until AfterBuzz.
That's meddling kids.
But why would they? It begs the question: why do they put you in these expensive jackets when you're going to be tussling with each
And
other?
probably wearing them once.
It looks good.
Yeah.
It looks good.
It does look
It is a
good.
gorgeous jacket. It was.
He's in love with the jacket.
I really was. Everyone was. Everyone's like admiring the leather. And it's, you know, I guess it's Ryan. He's got to take his sartorial style, even undercover a little bit.
Yeah.
And he did.
Yes, Fenton probably had the same style.
Right.
Different style, but equally highbrow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, well, he definitely took on a whole new character as Fenton. And if you folks at home watching on iTunes or listening to our podcast agree, feel free to leave a comment, rate, tell us what you thought about this episode, about all the episodes so far, what you're looking forward to in the 100th episode next week. So make sure you download our podcast and rate and comment, tell a friend. It really doesn't take more than a minute to do so. And you can also download the podcast app, which will organize all of your podcasts for you. So whether or not they're AfterBuzz or you have a lot of AfterBuzz shows that you like, seeing as we have so many, that it will organize it for you and download them for you automatically. So make sure you check that out.
Boom. There you have it.
Great.
So, Ryan and Jenny, so we've already discussed that. So now let's go into more into it. Let's go into the murder.
I like this Ryan.
Yeah, me too.
I like this Ryan too. He looked badass.
He was like.
I liked him a little more.
Yeah.
It took me a little while. At first I was like, oh, I'm not buying it.
I felt like I was watching The Departed or something, like a movie like that, you know, a mobster movie, and I believed him.
He looks like Jason O'Mara, who plays on Vegas. Once they kind of gave him a spray tan, and they kind of like.
Which they did. Did they not? Did they not? Because all Irish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I didn't understand. Irish are not tan.
No. Yes, he was also the lead on Terra Nova.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but I thought this is a great episode for Ryan's character because again, we found out so many secrets in his past, and so I thought that was really cool. And then, there was a question I wanted to ask: how would you guys have responded if you found out your husband, your boyfriend, fiance was undercover, and some woman just comes and just starts tonguing your man?
How would you? I have no idea.
I don't know. I think if I saw just the kiss and didn't know the story, I'd be furious. I would be pretty furious if she just ran at him and was in an embrace and he knew who she was. I would have a lot of questions.
I think even with the backstory, I would still be like, what? I wouldn't just stand there.
I agree.
I had to put them paws on him.
I would put some paws on him.
That means get a beat down.
I don't condone violence, but Larice apparently does.
I had to put them paws on him.
I don't know.
I mean, my husband is an actor, so he does kiss people sometimes. All in the name of the work, which is the same as this.
Now I would really have to question what's going on, not overreact, but at the same time, it's kind of really what's going on.
Well, I mean, once she finds out the backstory, I'm sure she's annoyed that this strange woman just kissed her husband and they're trying to make a baby over here. But once she has the backstory, I'm sure she wouldn't be upset with him. It was 7 years ago. It's this woman, Siobhan's long-lost love.
Yeah.
It's nothing to be upset about.
I mean, hopefully her reaction ends up being the same as Beckett's at the end of this episode when she says it makes me like you more. I mean, he was obviously Ryan's risking his life to try to do the right thing.
Well, I think she was very upset, but then she had the talk with Beckett and she said, I just think he's trying to do the right thing, you know, like he always does, which I think kind of reminded Jenny who she married and why she loves Ryan and kind of reassured her of his reasoning, because at first I think it did kind of seem like he was just playing the tough guy role and defending Siobhan and trying to prove something, but maybe he truly was just trying to bring down the people he tried to bring down 7 years ago.
What do you think?
Well, I think one important point that we're all missing is that she did not know about Mr. Whiskers. She knew
that is the across
about
the line.
Mr. Whiskers and that he had spent so much money on the ring toss for this woman, it would have been a totally different story. She definitely would have been putting paws on her. Been
oh Lord. Mr. Whiskers. Can I tell you, my boyfriend had a rat named Mr. Whiskers for years.
A real one?
Really?
A real one. Oh God, I wouldn't touch it or look at it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh, that's what he called it, huh?
Mr. Whiskers.
Oh,
Yeah, that rat. It's alive somewhere still. Somebody has it.
Sure.
Oh yeah, it just moved on from.
Somebody has it.
Well,
Right, sure.
he was still living with his mother at the time. She said,
Okay, it's
"See where the
getting worse.
rat.
It's getting
See where the
worse.
rat." Oh, he was like 17.
Oh,
It's
okay,
not.
go ahead.
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. But it's not uncommon to have a rat named Mr. Whiskers. That's all I'm saying.
Apparently not.
Well, there was talking about not being alive. Let's go into this murder. Someone who was-
You in the segue.
I know that's segue. Talking about not being alive.
Talking about rats too. Listen.
To be honest, this murder didn't play a huge role in this episode. I mean, it was a catalyst.
Yeah.
And it kind of ended everything, but the in-between was more about Detective Ryan and the past and the mob and all of that. But
Yeah.
Well,
ultimately,
also partly once we figured out, which was like probably in the first 10 minutes, that the guy who was killed was also kind of a bad guy who was wrapped up in all the stuff. It stopped being about like, oh, poor victim, and started being like, what's the bigger story and why did this guy get, you know, stuck in the middle?
It's about Ryan.
I mean, you feel bad,
undercover.
but all of them were somehow involved in the mob doing something wrong.
Yeah.
You know, Siobhan even, she was doing something she shouldn't have been doing. Jimmy the baker shouldn't have been taking money from
Jimmy the
Bobby
hoe.
S.
It was the money, man.
I mean, you feel bad for them. Oh, they fell in hard times. Well, yeah, so do a lot of people, but I'm not calling the mob. I mean, if you're working with the mob, you have to expect that something like that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Maybe not the way it went down, though.
My favorite thing about the murder is how Castle just kind of come in eating cupcakes and stuff. It's like,
Oh, yeah, he's like asking about free samples.
He's like, yes.
Ugh. They had to throw that batch out, I'm sure.
I would have done the same thing. I would have
Yeah.
like wanted to eat a cupcake.
Well, I'm sure they were delicious cupcakes, but I
Yeah.
don't know. But so he was ultimately just shot in the back. We didn't know who. There were some fibers on him. We saw the black car and tied it to Bobby S. But Bobby S had an alibi,
Yeah.
which led us to our friend Liam over here.
Well, it led us to the bar,
We
right?
got us to the bar, and Liam,
At
who was the
which we
first
see-
thing you
yeah.
see.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and his
Mean
wifey,
look.
And my wife,
who turns
Maggie.
out
She was
to be
mean.
important.
she's very important.
Yeah, yeah.
As wives usually are.
Absolutely.
I mean, important to the solving of the murder, Paige.
She didn't solve anything. She got solved.
We figured her out. We figured her out.
No, I don't know. It was strange. I was nervous this whole episode. I kept saying that. Castle's been getting to me lately. Last episode with the horror movie, this one with the mobs, like never knowing who's gonna die.
Yeah.
It's getting intense.
It is. Like the writers, they really did a great job because nobody really knew who did what.
Yeah.
It's just like everybody kind of played an important role.
Well, no, it wasn't like a typical Castle where we play who done it. We basically thought Bobby did it. Oh, Bobby was framed. Liam did it. And then at the end, it was just kind of like, oh, actually, Liam didn't do it. Guess who did? It was like a quick.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a cat and mouse game. We weren't chasing anybody this
Yeah.
episode.
Which meant it got to be more of a character study and less of a plot study,
Yeah.
which is
Which
you
I
know, exactly
liked.
what we all wanted
Yeah.
for Ryan's sake, as well as for Brian Letscher's sake.
Yes. yes.
A character study of Liam, what is it, Finch?
Finch.
Oh my gosh.
Liam Finch.
Apparently,
Liam Finch.
Brian, you said that you had offered to do an Irish accent.
I did. I wanted to do a little bit of a lilt, but they wouldn't let me. So that was kind of a bummer. But they said, "Can you do a Staten Island lilt?" And I did my best, but I think it was really like Brooklyn or Detroit, maybe where I'm from.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't really. But you know, the guy who played Bobby S., Michael Roderick, is from Jersey, and so he sounded incredibly authentic, and he said he just called his family and got on the phone for about 2 hours, and he said seriously, he said when he was done, he had it back all the way, and then when we were done shooting, and he stayed in it all the time. Offset, he stayed in that accent. And then when we were done, he sounded like a totally different person. It
Wow.
was very, very, very interesting. Very Daniel Day-Lewis.
Well, let's talk about your character, Liam.
Yeah.
So you popped on the scene and you were like, why don't you keep your hands off? Did I do a good impression?
You did. You did.
No, you was
You
real
have more
tough.
facial hair than I do.
But not a lot. You had some action going on there.
Right?
Yeah,
Right,
there was a
yeah.
goatee.
Not bad for a little Irish boy.
You look a little different now than you did. You looked like a younger version of Dennis Quaid to me
Now or
Wow.
then?
on Castle.
Wow. Right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is my,
All right. I'll take his career. Yeah.
So tell us about your character and tell us a little bit about this journey, this experience of.
Well, I think the biggest part of the experience was watching Seamus. To be honest, three things. Terrence Winter, the writer, and Rob Hardy, the director, were terrific to work with. I mean, absolutely terrific. Rob was the coolest cat in the world. He's directed a bunch of stuff, and he was so chill and would just come over and talk to you between each take, and real calm. And lots of TV directors don't actually come talk to you.
What kind of adjustments or like chat would he have with you?
Actually, it's going to
Be
sound
angrier.
horrible. No, it's going to sound
like,
horrible.
"You're
from the very beginning, he's like, I love what you're doing. Keep it that. The only thing we talked about from the very beginning was I wanted to be, because Bobby S. was more of a personality, I wanted to go opposite of that and play him really quiet. You know, because he could have been Liam, you know, he's got that little speech going to the docks, and as he gets out of the car, he's like, I suspected you from the beginning. And that all could have been a lot bigger. And we did a take where it was bigger. But Rob and I just talked about keeping him as undercover angry as possible.
It seemed like that raised the tension, too, for it to be like the thing that was about to burst but didn't.
Right, hopefully. That was the idea, is that, and he seemed to like that the whole time. And then, honestly, it was watching Seamus, because you could, meeting him right away, you know, he said, like, this is a good episode for me. I get to do a lot of stuff. And it was really fun to watch someone kind of have their moments and know that this was something bigger for him, and that Nathan wasn't in it as much. And it was really fun to watch him, and he totally grabbed it and, you know, went for it.
What was fun for me was watching you and your facial reactions, your moments where you just didn't say anything. When Ryan was like, you know, telling Bobby, you know, I can get you whatever you want, and you just had this look. You just gave this look. He was like,
It was the don't trust him look.
Right.
It was just one of those looks where you know, that head nod was just pretty much like, I don't trust this bum.
That seemed
That was
so
from Scandal.
intense.
That's right. I got all those head nods from Scandal.
Yes, sir.
It's interesting, though, because playing the second guest star, like Bobby S. might have been the first, you know, you actually do have to do a lot of reaction shots usually. So it's something to tell, that you want to tell the story. So your job is to make sure that you give the editor something to use to tell the story, you know.
Tell us more by what you mean by that you got that from Scandal. I mean, is that the same sort of stuff that you guys were being asked to do there?
I was kind of kidding, but because there's a lot of head nods in Scandal as a Secret Service agent. But yeah, I mean, when you don't have a lot of dialogue, you're not called on. Your job is to make sure that you are reacting to what people are saying, so you can help tell the story. Yes, it's from your character's perspective, and you want to honor what your character is thinking. And with Liam, I think it was pretty clear where he was coming from. He didn't like this newcomer. He didn't like the fact that Bobby S. was trusting him. I wanted to be the one who, if Bobby S. decides to get out, I'm the guy that takes over. And who the hell is this dude? And then even beyond that is, I want to protect Bobby S. Well, that's my job. I'm loyal. My wife wasn't so loyal, but I was loyal.
But I felt like your relationship with Bobby was more closer than your wife. Like when we saw the scenes of you and your wife Maggie together, you guys were never. You guys were never close. There was never any affection. Like when you see that Fenton comes in after 7 years, you know, you kind of gave him this look, but there was no affection. There was no grab her by the waist, give her a kiss, because that's what sometimes men we like to do is when we think that there's somebody that's preying on their woman, we kind of get them close and we kind of show things like, okay, yeah, you tried, I'm gonna bust your ass.
But
you didn't do that.
No, that's a great observation, actually. And in that bar scene where she punches Fenton, Rob and I talked about it real quick before we shot, is I was like, you know what, she can handle herself. I don't need, my wife is a tough broad, and she can handle herself. And Rob was like, exactly. You just stand behind her, and you're there. If Fenton reacts and she can't handle it,
then you step in.
You step in, and you won't use your gun until you have to. You will beat him with your fists. You know, and then there was one take where she comes over and she says, "What do you think of this guy?" And I said, "It's not up to me. It's up to Bobby S. But I'll kill the bastard." You know. And we did one take where after I said that I'll kill the bastard, I pulled her close and I kissed her on the top of the head. And as soon as he yelled "cut," he comes walking over. I'm like, that didn't feel right. He's like, yeah, don't kiss her. You know, because it's not what he would do. You know, so it's a really good, you know, she's tough. Everyone can handle themselves, and and I'm not going to step in her. You know, if I tried to step in for her, she would punch me.
Yeah. Well, you couldn't handle Brian because he kind of kicked your ass.
Son of a! I will get up off this couch right now.
Was that one more choreographed?
That one was choreographed because he was chopping to my throat, and we shot it a bunch of times. And this is where I love Seamus. I mean, he's got I don't know what he studies or what he does, but he had that move down, and he literally each time came. I could feel his hand against my throat, but he stopped it perfectly, and yeah.
But the funny thing is the reaction when you were like looking like,
I can't believe he just chopped me in my throat.
that actually went on for a long time. We shot that scene maybe 20 times, and I was pretending to choke so often the crew was starting to giggle a little bit because I was bent over.
How did this little man
Exactly.
Put me down.
Even watching it though, you're like, ooh.
Yeah.
Ryan did that? No, he didn't.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You'd think he'd be quicker, but you are much taller.
No, I'm big and slow.
Liam's big and slow.
Liam's big and slow.
I liked seeing Ryan though with the moves. Even when he grabbed Maggie's hand and stopped her from punching him, we've never really seen him do anything like that ever.
The second side, the dark side of Ryan.
The dark side.
yeah.
I liked it.
And which is cool because we've seen two different sides of both Ryan and Esposito. So we saw the other side of Esposito. You know, he was was he undercover? He did something like in the streets.
Right.
Oh yeah.
This is the episode where he bonded with the.
When he bonded with the kids. So we got to see kind of like his tough urban side, and then we get to see the tough Irish side of Ryan. Right. So
well, we've mentioned before that this season really seems to be breaking down the walls for these characters, and instead of just having this storyline of a murder and how Castle and Beckett's sexual tension was being played out for so long, now that that's all been broken down, we kind of delve into who they really are as people. Even with earlier this season with Beckett being kind of depressed over her mother, and that episode with the senator. I mean, they're all kind of.
But it makes sense because after 3-4 seasons, things start to get stale, and you rely on things such as your relationship to carry the show. So everyone wanted to see Castle and Beckett get together. Okay, we've seen them together. If you want to now hold us for a couple more seasons, you got to do other things. So now we see Ryan, we see episodes for Ryan, we see episodes for Esposito, and so like you said, we get to kind of see other things. Otherwise, it will be boring. Yeah. And and then we wouldn't. We wouldn't
have a castle.
We wouldn't have a castle. Wow. So, but let's talk about you. There's some questions that we want to ask. How long what was the process? Did you have to audition a couple times?
I auditioned once.
You're just that great.
We did that good.
Bomb.
That good
Bomb
audition.
diggity.
Yeah, I texted it in. I texted my
Text my audition.
I put my vocal intonations in parentheses.
Was it just an emoji with the angry face?
They're like, oh, he's good. He's good.
Right?
I'll tell you what, the casting director was she was terrific because she gave me a couple adjustments and we hit those and that was it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Well, you fit the role well.
Good. Right?
You're much friendlier in person, which I'm glad.
Thank God.
After watching the episode, I would have been a little nervous to meet you, and I'm not.
This is my friend Brian.
Tough guy.
I love this, Samara. The first time you see me, you laughed. You're
I'm so sorry. You guys, I've known Brian for 10 years.
Yeah.
And he was at my wedding, and is a very dear friend, so I enjoy seeing you play different roles.
Not that grim all the time,
than you really are. Yes.
Speaking of different roles, there's another ABC show that you are affiliated with. Do you want to tell us what it is? Tell the fans.
Scandal?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Scandal is near and dear to my heart for sure. I mean, I don't have I play Tom, Secret Service Agent Tom, and have appeared in I don't know.
I was speaking for the internet community, I think.
Is that what that was?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I love that sound. And I mean, it's not a huge role, but I have to say it's one that's been a blast just because that show, the energy of that show is very particular. Auditioning for that show was really interesting because my brother was on it.
Yes, and your brother is Matt
Letscher.
Matt Letscher. And tell everyone the character that
they'll
Matt
be
plays.
shocked.
They'll be very shocked.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
Matt played Billy Chambers, the chief of staff to the vice president, who stabs the reporter in the neck, and and then perhaps dies. We don't know. He gets
we
into
don't
an
know.
elevator with an assassin. We do not know what happened in that elevator.
I love
or
when that
after.
happens because they
Exactly.
can come back.
No
He
question.
can come back.
There's no question. So auditioning for that was fun because I knew that you had to talk fast on that show, and the audition for it had a ton of military jargon. It was the one where the president wanted to get out of the White House, but not let anyone know that he was getting out of the White House. And we kind of had that quick negotiation about, well, we'll take a follow car and a lead car and a helicopter and snipers and this and that. And he's like, no, I'll take the snipers in the car, and yeah, I'll take this and a bagel, and okay, great. So we agreed on it and went with it. But that was really fun. And then getting on the show was supposed to be one episode, and you know, has turned into more. And beyond that, just how the show has taken off and the atmosphere on that set, Carrie and Tony and Jeff Perry and you know, Darby and then the people that are on that show, and you see them on Twitter, and it's just rare, I think, how close they are and how they all are behind that show 100%. And very cool to see.
Yeah.
Very cool to see.
Intense
And it's a
show.
cool show. It's an intense show.
Intense show. I
love
God, the writers do not spare you. We will shove a whole season into one episode, and your heart will take it. It's like, yeah, so that's been a lot of fun.
Okay, well, great.
Yeah.
You want to tell us about, there's another big project you have.
Well, I just shot a pilot. I just had a nice guest star on a new pilot, the untitled Rand Ravitch pilot, which is not a sexy name. Sorry, Rand. Your name's very sexy, but you need a title for the pilot. And it's NBC and Fox Television, the studio, Fox Studio and NBC are making the pilot, and it was just a blast. A guy named Philip Noyce directed it. Philip directed Salt and Clear and Present Danger and Patriot Games and Rabbit Proof Fence, some fantastic films. And yeah, it's like being on a film set. I'm still doing it. I've got one more day, and just terrific. Gillian Anderson's is in the pilot. And
So I was gonna say, so we have the working title or whatever, and then can you tell us what it's about? Is it a drama? Is it a comedy? Or you can't?
It's a drama. I'm not gonna. I would definitely.
You get
I'm
Poison
not the
Oak.
person. I have Poison Oak.
That's not a plot point,
all
though.
over my body. No, no, there was no danger pay for that, but it was well worth it for what we got to do. But it's an hour-long drama, and I think a lot people who know that I did it, the reaction is always, wow, that was one of the best scripts of pilot season. And so I just had a terrific time working with those people, and the writing was fantastic. And who doesn't want Poison Oak?
Yeah. Can you tell us who stars with you in it?
I wouldn't classify myself as a star, but I would say that Gillian Anderson stars in it. Dermot Mulrooney stars in it. A guy named Max Martini. Max was on the unit for 4 years, and he and I play brothers in the pilot. And there's a bunch of other terrific actors in it. It's a really big cast.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm excited about it. I mean, it's a pilot. Who the heck knows what happens with pilots? But I have to say, being on the set, it was like being on a huge feature film set. There was cranes everywhere and people everywhere, and
Do you play a good guy or a bad guy?
Well, I have a cause that I'm fighting for.
That was his defense for Billy
That's all I
Chambers as
have
well.
to say.
That's what they have to say about Liam.
That's right. We all have something we believe in. No one puts their head on the pillow at night going, I'm a bad guy.
Oh, goodness.
I know, actor talk, blah, blah.
Well, we're gonna continue to blah blah. Let's go into some news and gossip and predictions.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Well, the ratings are still doing terrific for Castle, still #1. And so I'm pretty sure, it hasn't been announced, but I'm pretty sure that they're going to go into a season 5 because the ratings have been great.
6.
I'm sorry, yeah, rating 6. Season
They're definitely
6.
going into season 5.
Yeah, they're definitely going to go into season 6
Well into
because
season 5.
they've been consistent.
Yeah.
And I feel like they gain new fans all the time. I have friends who know I do this, and they say, oh, I caught an episode, and it's really, really good. Like, I'm going to start DVRing this now. So I think it still, gets attention, and people still like it.
And apparently lots of different ages, considering what Castle said when he was hosting that, what was it, the WGA. Yeah.
Oh
And
my
then
gosh.
Nathan has won best People's Choice actor for a crime show for the past 2 years. So, you know, the people vote, and so
people love him.
I think that's our prediction.
Yeah.
More Castle.
But for predictions, this is a 100th episode next week, so let's go into predictions.
Yeah.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I'm gonna go with guess first. What are your predictions for the 100th episode?
Just make something up.
Mr. Brian Letscher.
Liam's
What's
rotting
going
in
to happen in the
jail.
next episode?
Yes.
Aliens.
Aliens.
Aliens. Or vampires. One of those two.
Or both.
Both are popular, or zombies. One of those three, actually. I'll take one of
That'd
those
be pretty
three.
awesome if
Sorry
Castle
if I
took on the
some of your
Walking Day.
Right.
Okay, ladies first. Go ahead, Paige.
I don't have any serious predictions at all. I don't think they left us hanging or guessing or wondering really in any sense of it. But I guess I'm just for the sake of saying it, maybe there'll be some bumps in the road for Castle and Beckett, because I remember Lainey, well, when she was here with us, she was saying that,
Lainey played by Tamala Jones.
Yeah, by Tamala Jones. She was saying that it can't be good forever, you know, and I thought we got there a while back
When Darby Stanchik guest starred.
she dropped that bomb on Beckett, but we didn't. So I feel like it might shake up towards the end of the season if we get a season 6, you know, leading into that. I don't know.
Samara.
I mean, Bamm, what do you think?
I'm gonna go last.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like, you know, we'll see what happens.
Okay,
Yeah.
Mr. Larice Shamar.
I think it's gonna be a little bit more Lainey Esposito. I think Ryan's gonna kind of take that back seat now. You know, since he kind of had his big episode tonight, it's gonna be a little bit more Lainey Esposito. I'm gonna go with Paige. Just kind of saying that the whole Beckett and Castle, it should be a bump. I want to see a bump. It's too perfect.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a breakup. It could just be like a bump in the road.
Maybe they get a dog.
Maybe they could.
They don't even live together.
I was gonna say maybe. I was just gonna say
Maybe they move in together.
maybe they move in together.
We haven't seen Mom around in a while.
We haven't seen their daughter.
Yeah.
Oh, she's in college.
I
She's back.
I have a really over-the-top crazy prediction.
Oh,
Crazier
please.
than zombies and vampires.
Yes.
And the aliens.
Wow.
My prediction is that Mr. Brian Letscher is going to come back. That's my
Actually,
prediction.
Liam is undercover. I'm actually a police officer. Liam is that.
That's amazing. Like
We
from
never
New
know.
Jersey.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
No, I'm French.
Yeah. Yeah. You came over from the Paris.
French
Yeah.
police officer playing
Yeah.
Irish.
Excellent accent work.
Thank you very much.
So Brian,
Thank you very much.
So Brian, tell us where we can find you on social media.
I am at B Letscher on Twitter, and that's social.
That's as social as it gets.
That's as social as we get.
Okay. And then so you have the pilot. Do you have anything else coming up in the future you want to let the fans?
Yeah, I'm shooting my own web show tomorrow. I write a lot, so I've got 2 pilots that I'm out shopping right now, as well as a feature script. And then tomorrow I wrote a web show that right now is is tentatively titled Private Dicks. It's about well, it might be LA Undercover. I haven't cleared that name yet, but it's about two guys in Santa Monica who are private detectives, but they can only solve cases from the time that one of them drops his kids off at school and then picks them up. And they never actually solve a case because they play golf and go have sushi and have
funny.
wheatgrass shots. But they convince their clients that they've solved the case. So they come up with a solution that works for the client, but it's never actually the solution the client asked for in the first place.
Your improv is so great. I don't know if I can believe you or not. Are you for real?
I'm for real.
Okay.
That's the series. That's the web show.
Brian, I can say Brian writes really great stuff, and sometimes he even writes roles for me.
I do. There's
Lucky
no question.
Samara.
Samara's at the top of the list. For sure.
Oh, I know.
You'll have to guest in this.
Yes, please.
Okay. Tomorrow, the pilot episode is about a girl who's. I probably shouldn't say this on air.
We'll talk about it
let
later.
Like, keep it.
Okay.
It's not clean enough to.
Okay. Well, this is it. So let's give our shots and plugs, and we want to thank you again for joining us on AfterBuzz recap
Yes,
for
thank
Castle
you.
season 5.
Thank you for having me,
episode
guys.
99.
Right.
All right. So you guys.
Wild Rover.
Wild Rover.
Rover. Liam, give me one of your lines again.
Oh,
The fishy one. What's the fishy one?
Oh yeah.
That's the best one.
The fishies are all asleep.
All right, so let's give our shout outs.
Yes, I am Paige Sullivan. You can follow me on Twitter at Paige Sull. Same thing on Instagram, and you can check me out at perfectpage.com.
I'm at Samara Bay and thesmartyattheparty.com.
And I'm at
True People's Media.
And the plate.
I'm at Larice Shamar and TruePeoplesMedia.com.
And I'm Bamm Ericsen, and you can now find me on Big Six Entertainment. Us on Twitter and Instagram. So we want to thank you guys for tuning in to another great episode here on AfterBuzz TV for Castle Season 5, Episode 99, titled The Wild Rover. So we'll see you guys next week.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.